Good morning, everyone. Good morning to you. I hope you are well. I see the comments already coming in as people report how cold it is. So do not be put off by the fact that I'm wearing a t-shirt. Off to my left, probably your right, is a very large heater keeping me quite warm. But look, good morning to you all and welcome to Solid Ground. It's where we talk the topics which have caught my eye, but importantly, I can talk to any of the issues that are on your mind. And so wherever you're watching this, it can be on LinkedIn, to Instagram, to Substack, wherever, know that you can comment. Excuse me, I'm going to talk about my cough in a moment. But if you want to comment live, you can do so by jumping onto the Family First YouTube channel or the Family First Facebook page. And those comments come direct to me here. So obviously anything I'm discussing, your thoughts and comments are very, very welcome. But also if you have a question on something completely different, feel free to do so. Now you'll probably find me pausing a little bit more this morning than usual. I'm actually in exceptionally good health, except for my voice. I'm not sure if it's a cold or I've been talking too much, but I find myself in the last 24 hours coughing away, which is most unfortunate. So excuse me if all of a sudden you see me, well, you won't see, you'll hear me mute and cough away. But look, good morning to you all, as I always do. Good morning to the crew. Harrison, lovely to have you back, and good to know that you've your dog sitting. That will be a fun and enjoyable experience. If we had a dog still, you could come and dog sit here. But little Fleur, who I think you might have met, sadly passed away a few years ago. But that is great news for you. May that go well. -3, Lynette tells me, in Christchurch. But good morning to you. And Dunedin, gosh, we've got all the people down south. Michael, good morning. Lovely to have you along. And Catherine, of course, before. DD, can't do a show without you and your incisive comments. So thank you. Good to have you here. Rosie, I bet you it is rather chilly there in Taupo as well, by the lake. Jackie, good to have you along from Reitihi. -1. According to my watch, I granted I haven't stepped outside, it's about 6 degrees here in in Auckland. Gosh, the winner of the furthest south so far is Muddy Waters down there in beautiful Invercargill. I still remember, is it Queen's Park? That beautiful park in the city, one of my favourite, I have to say. Darren, good morning to have you along. We got Chris there from Napier, good morning. Ian, hello. Always lovely to have you along. Oh, we've got Rabbit Hole. Lovely to have you here. And Dennis Dionysos. Janice, wonderful to have you along. Encouragement to people, if you are into leadership and business, go and check out Dennis's podcast called Leadership is Changing. It is fantastic. I've got Susan. So many comments flying through. I'm losing it already. Good morning to you, Susan. We've got Trish as well. Good morning. Fantastic to have you along. We've got Peter there as well. Good morning. Good morning. I better stop because one of these days I'm going to do the entire show just saying hello to everyone. Hey, look, as always, there's quite a lot to talk about. And I thought I would just quickly touch on this. And I see a couple of questions coming in. I'll get to those in a moment. So if you've been following Parliament over the last 72 hours, it's been the Chloe show because she got kicked out of Parliament for calling other MPs spineless. Now, Bob and I will talk about this more at length tonight on Political Playback. So that's at 5 o'clock live tonight. Very much like this, except you get Bob and me. So I'm not going to go too in depth here, other than to say there's a special kind of arrogance which the Greens have, and I think Te Pāti Māori share it. I suppose that the more fringe you are, the more this happens, but to believe that the rules don't apply to you. And that's very much the situation that Chloe is in. Some people, because this is my Substack, by the way, I wrote it last night. If you want to go to substack.com, look up my name or On Point, you'll find it there. It's free. I don't charge. Unlike a lot of others, it's all open, all free. Have a read. But I'm basically saying that she's just not prepared to play by the rules. And look, that's an observation, but it's also a warning to New Zealanders. You're dealing here with zealous revolutionary types. And that might sound a bit dramatic to some. But the thing about revolutionaries, be it in the current time or when you think back to the past, is they don't believe in the rules. They don't believe that you have the right to have an opinion other than what they believe. Put another way, for the Chloe Swarbricks of the world, unless you believe with her, you're to be dismissed. You're irrelevant. You basically just have to agree with them. And again, that's where you've ended up with the radical revolutions around the world. So a huge arrogance on her part. Excuse me. Terrible arrogance on her part. And from my personal perspective, quite right that she got kicked out of Parliament again yesterday and named, because it's not really about her views on Gaza, Israel. There's actually a variety of views. You guys will know my own, which, by the way, are not hers. There's a variety of views, but she can't accept that. Excuse me. And then on top of that, of course, she's not prepared to play by the rules of the Parliament. She's given literal, almost middle finger to them all. So we'll talk about more of that tonight on Political Playhouse. Political Playback. Rosie's asking the question of why Jacinda and Hipkins and others won't attend the COVID inquiry. In fact, that was going to be my next topic when I find it. I've got so many screens. Here we go. Boom. So Rosie must be able to secretly see my screen here and know what's coming. But a good question. In one level, I don't quite understand because... the context, guys, is we've got this second COVID inquiry, a royal commission, the highest type of commission in the land, who have been drawing a lot more evidence from New Zealanders. The likes of Chris Hipkins, of course, Jacinda Ardern, Ashley Bloomfield, amongst others, have chosen not to front to the COVID inquiry. Now, I say they've chosen not to because they haven't been subpoenaed, if that's the right word. They haven't been compelled by the Commission. So the first thing is why the Commission hasn't used its extensive powers. They're arguing, the Commission that is that through the documentation that they've received from these guys, that's enough. But I think for me, they just don't want to be held to account. I think that's really the simplest of answers. They don't want to be held to account. And that should tell you all you need to know about them, their character, and it also tells you exactly how they operated during the COVID days. A lack of accountability and ultimately a lack of care about the people they were meant to lead over. So as I say, it's a statement of today, but it also reflects on how they acted in the past. Personally, I think they have a moral obligation first and foremost to turn up. They led this country through very difficult times where they effectively suspended all our human rights. And so why would they not turn up and explain what they were doing? Including, and I think this is important, and this is why I say it's a moral issue, to allow us to learn from that and be much, much, much better next time. But these guys, be it Jacinda, Hipkins, Bloomfield, don't care. They were more than happy to speak and exercise extraordinary power in the past, but now they don't have the humility to simply turn up and share their experiences so that New Zealand can learn and improve for the future. That tells you all you need to know about the character of these people, including, of course, Chris Hipkins, who wants to be Prime Minister again. So, unaccountable, terrible. Someone's saying here, and good morning to Justine, I see you came on a bit earlier. There is a cowardliness to it, actually. I think one of the qualities of leadership is to stand by and explain your decisions. I certainly found when I was in Parliament, obviously not making decisions at these guys' level, but when I had constituents, was never afraid to explain why I voted or thought the way I did. I mean, I think, I think that's one of the perspectives I have on leadership is the ability not only to make decisions, and often, that's a big part, in my view. Well, I'll defer to Dennis, who's tuning in. He's an expert on leadership. But, one of the things of leadership is to make decisions. So many of us can sit and opine and look at options, but leaders have to make decisions. But I think alongside that, good leadership also sees a person who's able to explain why they're making that decision and to be held accountable. So ultimately, these guys are not leaders. They took power and they used it, I'm sad to say, against New Zealanders. And now that they have a chance to front, to discuss, to talk, to share, they're not prepared to do so. And Hipkins, I suppose, particularly because he's leader of the opposition, doesn't want any... Sorry, guys. As I say, not actually unwell. I'm just battling a coffee throat. So he doesn't want to try and derail his attempt to get back to the prime ministerial benches, and maybe that's I am partisan. I'm former national MP, but for all the failings of this current government, and sadly there are many, do you really want Chris Hipkins back? And the answer from me is no, amongst many reasons, because like this COVID inquiry, no moral gumption to actually turn back up. So it's terrible. I've just seen 1,000. I am losing track. I am literally onto 3 pages of comments here now. Anthony Kenyon saying the legislation to absolve them of responsibility, including to the pharmaceutical companies. It's just, Edmund is noticing just, 66 billion they spent, but they're not going to, again, discuss. The slight nuance on this, guys, of course, is that they have released documents. That's what the COVID inquiry is saying. But you know it yourselves, and hopefully none of you have been to court. But, we think of court proceedings, and I certainly think of select committees. A lot of people will submit things in writing, which is brilliant. But there's nothing quite the same as talking to someone and being able to tease out ideas. Anyway. Jackie's noting people have a short memory. That's exactly true. They do, a very short memory. Harrison's reminding me that I was in that River of Freedom. Yes, I actually I only learned about that a while back, but I hadn't realised, Harrison, until I was in a shop in Parnell, and the woman kept looking at me and Rachel at the time, which I thought was unusual. And then she came over and said, "Are you Simon O'Connor? You're in this film?" So that's the only way I found out. But yes, I was. So I'm just trying to catch up with all these comments. Okay, I'm not going to get to all of them. So I won't get to any of them. The other thing I thought I'd put up, and it's related. This came out in the Herald yesterday, because a group called Voices for Freedom, and I know some of them, in fact I suspect most of us know some of them, they put out a book. They put out a book, which I think, according to the Herald, about 4,000 people have bought already. So that in itself is quite extraordinary. But it's Voices for Freedom's perspectives in and around the COVID inquiry and what happened. So first and foremost, I'm very relaxed that these guys exist and they want to put out their opinions. But clearly to mainstream media, there is just no ability to have any discussion. It's a hallmark, actually, of the COVID days. And never forget this, that the mainstream media were complicit and in lockstep with the government. What the government said, they amplified and echoed. There was no questioning, there was no pushing back. And yes, in recent weeks, a few of the reporters have started asking questions conveniently after the fact and as the tide is turning. But what got my back up on this is, again, effectively the suppression of free speech or the ability to share ideas. So the supposed journalist, I think his name's Michael Morra, who, to be fair, has actually done a few good things in the past, but just a dirty little hatchet job on these guys here. Pulls out a few people who disagree with them, which in again itself is fine, but pulls out a few people who say it's all misleading, it's all wrong, how dare they even put this book out? Well, to Michael and the Herald and others, it doesn't matter if you agree with them or not. It doesn't matter if they've got the wrong end of the stick or not. They're allowed to publish books in this country. The last time I checked, we're not in a dictatorship where the likes of the Labour Party or the New Zealand Herald or other communist outfits try to tell us how to think and how to process information. If they're wrong, if Voices for Freedom in this book is wrong, let us decide. If you want to have a tussle of ideas, that's fine. But the other thing which really annoyed me, not annoyed me, it sort of darkly made me laugh, is that the reporter was upset that the book has a blue cover. Yes, you heard me right. I'm not stuttering over my words. It had a blue cover. And you can see a little bit of it there at the bottom. And according to the New Zealand Herald, this could mislead New Zealanders to think that this is actually an official government document. The fact that it's got a whopping Voices for Freedom logo on it, and I'm sorry you can't see it here. Had I been smarter, I would have got a picture of the book itself. This is just a copy of the headline. But according to the New Zealand Herald, the fact that Voices for Freedom put some blue on the front cover and their logo means that most New Zealanders could be tricked into thinking this is a government document. I think one of the first reasons we know it's not a government document is that it's got the Voices for Freedom logo. Secondly, the book's in English rather than with a Maori title, so I think most New Zealanders will get that. So I'm expecting, with the great concerns of the Herald, that the front of the cover is blue, that the story that will follow this up is that because there is so much white around the black letters and characters that the book is filled with systemic racism. I suspect that will be the next accusation of the Herald. I mean, this is the stupidity which we're dealing with, and you can hear, I think, the frustration in my voice, the stupidity of what we're dealing with in our media today, and just every time I try to think better of them, they just do something more stupid. So really the message here, again, you don't have to agree with Voices for Freedom, but they're allowed to speak, they're allowed to put out their perspectives, they're allowed to debate, they're allowed to put ideas out. But you know, in some ways, guys, you should be a little bit concerned that we have a media, political class, an academic class who basically think you're too stupid, or we're all too stupid, and so everything has to be spoon-fed to us, and we're not allowed to see ideas other than those that they approve of. I mean, good Lord, go and live in North Korea. Anyway, Darren is saying he's got the book and it's a good read. I haven't yet read it. I will. I do have a copy because actually I like to read things. Food Dogs Trade. By the way, good morning. Friends, don't let friends watch mainstream media. I love that. Rabbit Hole is saying yay for Voices for Freedom. And you know what? They're allowed to speak, as I keep coming back. They're allowed to speak. Trish is saying that she got her book yesterday, which is fantastic. Edmund is saying Claire. So the woman in this picture, spelling thing here, but Claire, that's is, and she is a lovely person. I know her. Deal with her through Reality Check Radio. Whoops, I think I've hit the same one again. Yep, Darren saying they talk sense. Oh my Lord, and I am once again being... Very good. Rusty is saying that JFK Jr. Yeah, well, this is interesting actually because we're jumping quickly to American politics. JFK Jr. Has put a halt on a lot of things happening within the health space, particularly in the vaccination space in America. And of course, a lot of the pharmaceutical companies are jumping up and down. But I actually quite like one of his arguments was there is such low trust now in the health system, in the medical system, particularly because of the way COVID was handled, that they need to restore that trust. And so he's looking to do it through more and further research. And it's a bit like free speech for me. Why would anyone be against more research, more discussion? It boggles my mind, I have to say. Hey, look, I'm once again about to run out of time, and while I'm speaking of America, I just thought I'd quickly note this, because you won't hear it reported in New Zealand. This is one of Trump's recent decisions to stop what they call debanking. So you'll know, or perhaps you know here in New Zealand, there's been a push, both... Well, actually, maybe I'll just explain the context. Debanking, and most of you will know this anyway, debanking is where banks remove your ability to bank with them, hence debanking, because they don't agree with your views or what you're doing. Might sound a little far-fetched, but unfortunately the likes of America, the UK, the Reform leader, Nigel Farage, was debanked because his bank decided they didn't like his political views. Here in New Zealand, there's been a push to debank Gloria Vale, and regardless of what you think of them, I view it as a cult, and you can see from what's been happening in the courts some pretty terrible things. But there's an attempt to debank them, I would argue, not because of those terrible things, but because of their religious beliefs. You also have the likes of, I think it was BNZ, looking to debank coal mining companies because they don't like their impact on climate change. We should be worried by this. Who's the next group or set of people who are... Hello? Oh, I'm being told by Ian there's no sound. If Ian is right, tell me. Hopefully you can still hear me. It might be your end, Ian. No, at this point, no one else has told me mine is gone. So, long and short, debanking's a pretty insidious dynamic and something that we don't want to come here in New Zealand. It was starting to occur in... I think Edmund's telling me it was ASB, not BNZ. I've maligned a bank. But anyway, I think this is a good move by Trump to say, you know what, actually, you cannot completely debank a person. There still has to be some options. And it is a balance because banks are private. They are allowed to have some choices. You know, we don't want them taking money from, you know, authoritarian dictators around the world, for example. But if you're a citizen of the country, like here in New Zealand, you need an ability to have some banking. You need to have some banking abilities, even if it's limited. I mean, you think about how your life would be if you didn't have access. And thanks for people telling me my sound is on. I can relax. Ian, there might be an issue you're in. Anyway, I'm all over the place, but just wanted to stress that this is good. It's a good decision by Trump in this case. It would be good to see New Zealand doing a little bit of the same. Peter's got a good comment here. I would actually put the word factional banking as well. Ultimately, because that's what will happen if banks become effectively political tools, we're in even further trouble than we are now. Anyway, I could talk for hours. Speaking of talking, oh, I do apologise, and I didn't mute quick enough. Know that you can obviously watch all of this stuff for free. You can go onto the Family First website and read stuff for free. We're now on Spotify. If you haven't got enough of me, you can be back here tonight at 5 o'clock. Bob and I are doing political playback. And while that's coming through, Catherine's asking, could you get paid without a bank account? Probably, but you know how difficult it would be. And I think very few employers would go to the trouble to give out cash. I mean, cash is the only option. Of course, the point here is the government's looking at having a digital currency. So you can understand, guys, why if you've got a digital currency coming in and you've got places where debanking's allowed, major problems down the road. Anyway, I'm going to go and try and fix my voice. As I say, Bob and I are back on at 5 o'clock tonight. We'll love to have you along. Bring your comments and thoughts. Very much the politics of New Zealand over the last few days. I, as I say, will leave you to it on this chilly New Zealand day. And I think I'm going to go and make myself another cup of coffee or a good lemon and honey drink and fix this voice. Guys, lovely to have you on as always. See you tonight or again on Tuesday morning.